Republican Morgan Luttrell is one of nearly 80 new U.S. House members in the 118th Congress. The former Navy SEAL told C-SPAN about his experiences in the military, his decision to get into politics, and about the depth of his family's multi-generational roots in Texas.
It's in my family. That was our birthright. My twin brother and I, we're Texans through and through and to the bone. Matter of fact, my wife and I were stationed in Virginia Beach, Virginia, when our firstborn son was coming along, and she actually went into false labor pains, and I drove her from Virginia to Texas so he could be born in Texas. True story. So 6 generations of Texans.
Was she on board with that?
She didn't really have a choice, but yes, she was. It was a great road trip. Took us about 26 hours, and when we hit Texarkana, I said, "Let it ride."
Wow.
My twin brother was not about to let us have our firstborn child not in the state of Texas, because I was like, hey, I need some dirt, I need a flag, I need a letter from the governor. He's like, absolutely not. That boy, his birthright is to be here in Texas, so that's what we did.
Why is that so important to you?
It's a Texas thing. It's one of those things that I wish I could explain it to you. I wish I had the vocabulary to articulate it to you, but it's an emotional thing for us Texans.
You were raised on a horse ranch.
Yes, ma'am. Quarter horse.
Describe your upbringing.
Hard work, dedication, weren't allowed to complain at all. My parents instilled in us at an early age, like, hey, that if you want to survive, if you like this livelihood, those horses are how we do this. So up before the sun came up, feeding and watering, and then when we got home from school off the bus, same thing. Chores, homework, sleep, bed, food, then to bed, and repeat. And I think that set us on a path early on of responsibility.
Did your parents talk about politics?
Absolutely not. Not something that we talked about around the dinner table or at all. This is the first time that I've been in any political space whatsoever. Obviously, politics is a big talking point now around the Thanksgiving table.
You went into the military. Tell us about that decision.
Most every male in our family served in the military throughout our lineage. Something my father and my grandfather instilled in us. Something my father instilled in us at an early age, and it was something, service to your country. If you want to truly care for something and love something, then defend it. And it's something that my brother and I always had plans on doing once we got out of school.
So when you got out of school, where did you serve? Your twin brother, did you serve together, or did you go separate ways?
I did. My identical twin brother, we were both in the SEAL teams. He actually went before I did, and then I ended up catching up, and we were at the same command. We actually deployed together. My mother didn't know that. My mother was unaware that we deployed together. We would still call whenever we could, say, hey, Mom, we're training. So she'd go, oh, okay, great, you boys, I love you, Mama loves you. And then he had a serious accident in the early 2000s, and so he exited the military, and then I kept going for another 7 years.
How did the Navy SEAL experience impact who you are today?
That's very profound. Being in the SEAL teams is something that I can say defined me in a way that I wish I could explain, because here we are, you're part of the most elite fighting force arguably the world has ever known. You're on the front lines defending your country. But in order to get to that fraternity, if you will, you have to be willing to give everything. And I think one takeaway amongst the hundreds more is that no matter what, once you are in the teams, you have proven that you're willing to do anything, include give your life for the people that you defend. And that's hard to, it's hard to find something like that after you get out.
Do you still talk to your teammates?
I do, not frequently, because you have to appreciate the SEAL teams as a bullet train going down the track. And when you get off, they don't slow down at the station. You jump, and then they keep going. They're front sight focused on their mission set. So in passing, if I see one or it's a holiday and they're free, they'll send me a text. But otherwise, they don't have to call me to tell me they love me. I know that, and same thing. So not as often as I like. I'm fortunate enough to have 4 of my teammates here in Congress with me now, so that's a lot of fun. That brotherhood still exists, and we hit it off, day 1, week 1 of orientation. Any
reaction from your fellow SEAL team members?
For being in Congress?
Yeah.
I'll be G-rated here. Don't screw it up. Don't embarrass us. Keep fighting for your country. Things like that.
How How did you become a Republican?
I think this kind of the Republican ideologies were instilled in us as we were growing up. And I'm not taking, when I say hard work and dedication, but we're Christian conservative, Second Amendments, limited government, fiscal responsibilities, and that leaned us over into the Republican Party. And as I started to become a man and realize what those values were on the Republican side as opposed to the Democratic side, Republican is where we ended up.
So you served in the military for how long, and when did you decide, okay, I'll jump into the political arena?
I served in the military right at 14 years. I was medically retired. I had an accident in 2009. And as I transitioned out of the military, I went back to school, went back to academia, studying traumatic brain injury. It was my passion, still is, especially taking care of the veteran community. And politics reared itself when my seated congressman, Kevin Brady, announced his retirement. And I grew up in the district, so it was my hometown. And I like to say that I speak the language. And family and friends put this in front of me, like, hey, what do you think? And a lot of prayer, a lot of family meetings, and a lot of discussions with my friends, and inevitably we decided to do it, and we made it.
Any advice from the former congressman?
A lot. I leaned on him quite a bit. He was a great asset to me, instilled a lot of knowledge in me and gave me guidance throughout. I was very hands-off. I had to earn it. He stayed out of the primary, and once we moved into the general, and then moving past the general while I was up here, I leaned on him a lot, and he was absolutely very gracious.
What did he tell you about this job?
Always vote your district, never take it personal, never take it home, and don't trust anybody.
What happened in 2009?
My teammates and I were in a training exercise off the coast of Virginia, and our Black Hawk helicopter slammed into an underway vessel. Catastrophic loss to the team. Actually broke my back and traumatic brain injury, and a few years down the road after a couple more deployments, it was the writing was on the wall that my body had enough, and that was it.
You broke your back and a traumatic brain injury.
I did. Just a bad day at the office. Yeah. I mean, we lost one, so I'll never complain about anything. I think I was the least injured out of all of us. It was one of those things that you think about, but I would do it all over again. I'd ride that helicopter in. I mean, I wish I wouldn't have to, but I was in the right place, the right time with my guys. We were training hard in order to defend the country, and I wouldn't change a thing.
What did that injury and recovery do to you? How has it shaped you?
It's still part of that never give up, never quit attitude. No matter what the good Lord gives you, He tests you in ways that He knows that you'll be able to get through. And again, another bad day at the office. It's not if, but when you get hurt, especially in the teams. You're on that leaning edge, so it's one foot off, and you're taking a tumble. So that's okay. I mean, we expect it.
Tell us about your sons' names, Gunnar and Lincoln.
So my brother named my son, my firstborn son, Gunnar. I actually named his firstborn son. That was a twin thing in our family. We decided to do that. So he loved the name Gunnar. Gunnar Wiley's his name. He's named after Benny Wiley, one of my heroes that I grew up with. He's actually the strength coach at USC. I'm not a USC fan, but he's out there. So, and then Lincoln Wynn. I named Lincoln after Abraham Lincoln, and his middle name is another one of my heroes and teammates, Josh Wynn, who's one of my best friends.
What do you hope to accomplish here in Congress?
Inevitably, I hope at the end of my terms, when I'm free and clear, my constituents and my base said, you did an amazing job for us. Front sight focused here in Congress, the border's huge for us. Not only the physical border, but the cyber border as well. And those are two very centrally focused topics that I'm going to get on top of. I landed on Homeland Security, so that's a big deal to us. And veterans, I'll always break my neck for the veterans. I'm ride or die with those guys and girls.